here today to speak on behalf of the members and alumni of Five God Volunteer Ambulance Service as we gather together as a community in remembrance of the events that transpired and the citizens that we've lost on 9/11. The moment the planes crashed into the buildings, the entire world stopped and held their breath. Living in Germany at the time, I saw people sitting in shock in front of their television screens, hoping that the people would reach safety before the towers collapsed. Each person has their own memory of that day, whether it be the loss of a family member or a friend, or coming home from school and watching the news channels replay over and over again the damage that had been done. Many New Yorkers might have been in the city when it happened, even seeing it firsthand. While the events occurred in United States soil, the tragic aftermath was felt in the souls, minds, and hearts of the people around the globe. The terrorists did not achieve their goal of splitting the world apart. Instead, the world stood united and in support of each other during the difficult days following 9/11 more than ever before. In the moments of 9/11, through the horror and tragedy that sent a shockwave across the world, there were some people who stood for hope, peace, and unity. These people need to be recognized for their heroic actions 10 years ago. I'm speaking of the firefighters, EMS, police, and volunteers who risked their lives in order to help save civilians trapped in the buildings. They ran into those buildings with selflessness and courage. They did not let their fears stop them from bringing people to safety. Some of you might not know that the University of Albany had students who were dedicated to helping people during 9/11. Five God Volunteer Ambulance Service, the student-run ambulance at this campus, and many other agencies were part of the group that went down to Manhattan to help during the time of national crisis. Five God Volunteer Ambulance was not only there to help people at 9/11, but we're here on campus every day to bring security to the students and community. Five God members are on duty 24/7 to serve the UAlbany community and when needed to make people feel comfortable and safe. Five God conveys a message of hope and peace to people every day. Emergency services helped save lives on 9/11 10 years ago, and today we continue to follow in this legacy. Five God offers a CPR and organized blood drive for the community. In this way, we enable you to make a difference and save a life. After 9/11, I knew that I wanted to serve the community and help other people by joining an EMS agency. Five God gave me the opportunity to help others when I first came to this campus. It is very rewarding to help people in the need to make them feel comfortable during difficult situations. When I come back from a call on the ambulance, no matter if it is a minor or major, I'm proud of what I have accomplished. I believe that the happenings of 9/11 had the positive effect of bringing nations of the world together to fight against terror. When I think about how 9/11 changed this country, I remember how unified people became through all the terror. I feel a strong sense of pride living here in the United States. Although it has been 10 years since the tragic events at 9/11, we're still united, we're still strong, and we'll never give up in our fight for peace. It was an honor speaking to you today. Thank you very much.
Kane is in the building.
nation united, on the other, a nation divided. The part I've chosen to focus on right now is the part of a nation divided. After 9/11, Americans' trust, sacredness, and sovereignty were deeply bruised and violated. And in turn, we as a nation looked somewhere to help repair what had been taken from us. What we found was that it was easiest to blame it on the so-called same people that had organized the attacks on the World Trade Center, the Pentagon, and the attempt at who knows where the plane that crashed down in the Shanksville, Pennsylvania field may have hit. We turned towards people of Middle Eastern descent, the same people who practice Islam, the so-called same religion of the terrorists and Al-Qaeda mastermind Osama bin Laden who orchestrated the terrible events of 9/11. Now I ask, is it that we turned toward them, or did we turn on them? What many Americans in their anger and frustration failed to recognize was that the people of the Middle Eastern descent and the people who practice the religion of Islam were also hurt and violated by the actions of the terrorists and Al-Qaeda. Their religion's beliefs taken in vain and transformed into something they do not practice nor recognize. Their backgrounds and heritage now looked down upon by the very people in place they came to in search of hope, in search and hope for equality, peace, prosperity, and the American dream. If you were to walk into a mosque and ask an imam, leader of the mosque, if the people who carried out 9/11 were Muslims, he would wince in pain with the association between his religion and the terrorists who carry out the heinous crimes. The Quran states, "And do not take any human being's life that God willed to be sacred, other than in pursuit of justice." The so-called Muslim terrorists who carried out the attacks with their distorted views have changed this to mean that it is their duty to kill, for they are defending themselves from the evils of the world at large. Imams will tell you that this is an extreme radical way of thinking that does not coincide with the religion of Islam or their holy book from God, the Quran. The Imam would tell you that the Muslims, like other religions in the world, are too in search of a world peace as well. When the planes first hit the Twin Towers, the Pentagon, and the Shanksville field, first responders rushed to help secure the scenes to provide aid for the wounded. People of all different backgrounds, religions, and races stopped everything they were doing, left behind their families, and went to the scenes to carry out the jobs they devoted their lives to. Firefighters, policemen, emergency medical services, construction workers, the list goes on and on. When we turned on the Middle Easterns and the Muslims after the attacks, did we ever stop to think that these were the same first responders that risked their lives and in many cases gave their lives to help the victims of 9/11? One of the firefighters who ran up the 80 flights of stairs to evacuate the victims, he was a Muslim. One of the policemen who helped secure the scene and help in the rescue and recovery efforts, he too was a Muslim. One of the people who drove your loved one to the hospital and performed first aid and CPR to help keep them alive, they too were a Muslim. One of the construction workers who worked for days after the tragedy to help pull bodies both alive and deceased from the wreckage, a Middle Eastern Muslim as well. Many of these Muslims who went into the attack sites never came out. They too perished. These people from the Middle East and the religion of Islam had one thing in common with the thousands of other first responders of 9/11. They were all Americans. Americans who came together in a time of need to aid fellow Americans. Black, white, Catholic, Jewish, Muslim, originally from Asia, Europe, South America, Australia, Africa, North America, wherever and whoever, and from wherever, united by one word that our ancestors have fought so hard to ultimately define and label our country's existence: Americans. Now, when we, from 5 Quad Volunteer Ambulance Service, hear our tones go off and call for a call in which we must aid someone who is sick or wounded, being black, white, Catholic, Jewish, Muslim, originally from Asia, Europe, South America, Australia, Africa, North America, is not even something that goes through our minds. We do not care what color your skin is, where you are from, what religion you practice. The only thing we care about is providing the most efficient care to the best of our abilities and making sure that you leave us in a better way than we found you. The only color we are capable of recognizing is red, and that is the color of your blood, the same color that everyone else in this crowd contains. Today we ask you to join us in removing the differences between each other, and to recognize that the only color in the world that matters is red, the same color no matter where in the world you are from, your blood is going to be. Instead of being the post-9/11 divided America I talked about earlier, let's as Americans unite, and on the world stage take a leading role in promoting world peace, and most importantly, tolerance of all race, religions, and backgrounds. I light this candle as an American and on a world stage to take a leading role in promoting world peace and most importantly tolerance of all races, religions, and backgrounds, and I hope you all join me in that. Thank you.